You know, at 83 years old, I thought I had Christmas figured out. I've hosted hundreds of them. I've written books about creating the perfect holiday. But last Christmas, sitting in my house in Bedford after everyone had left, I had a realization that shook me. I was exhausted. And worse, I couldn't remember a single meaningful conversation from that day. My house was perfect. My food was flawless. Everything exactly as planned, but I had missed the entire day. That's when it hit me. There's one specific habit stealing Christmas joy from people over 60, and I had been doing it for decades. Today, I'm going to tell you what that habit is, why we do it, and how to break free from it this year. Because if you're over 60, your Christmases are numbered. And this habit is stealing the ones you have left. Every year, I receive thousands of letters from women in their 60s, 70s, 80s, all saying the same thing. They're exhausted. They're spending weeks preparing for a day they barely get to enjoy. And when I read these letters, I see myself. I see the years I insisted everything be done my way. The years I refused help, the years I equated my value with producing the perfect Christmas, no matter what it cost me. Now, before I tell you what this habit actually is, understand something. This isn't about being lazy or not caring about family. This habit comes from love, from pride, from a deep desire to give something beautiful. But it's killing the very thing it's trying to create. And I would know because I helped create the culture that makes this habit feel necessary. Back in the 90s and 2000s, my business was built on showing people how to create spectacular holidays. 12 Christmas trees throughout my property, dinners for 40 people, gifts wrapped by hand with fresh pine boughs. It was beautiful, impressive, and it set a standard that millions tried to achieve. But here's what I didn't say clearly enough. Those magazine spreads had teams, staff, professional help. What looked like one woman's accomplishment was actually 10 people's work. But the message women received was that you should be able to do this. And women my age internalized that message deeply. They kept trying, kept pushing, even as their bodies aged and energy decreased. That's where the habit began, the habit of doing everything yourself, refusing to delegate, insisting traditions stay exactly the same, no matter what it costs physically, emotionally, or financially. Now, I know what you're thinking. Martha, that's just being a good host. That's caring about family. I thought the same thing for years. But here's what I've learned. There's a difference between creating joy and performing perfection, between hosting with love and hosting to prove something. Somewhere along the way, many of us crossed that line without noticing. We started sacrificing presence for perfection, trading connection for control, and our families didn't ask us to. We did it to ourselves. Let me ask you something. When you think about Christmas this year, do you feel excited or dread, energized or exhausted before it begins? If you're feeling that exhaustion, go to the comments right now and type one word. Type exhausted, because I need you to see you're not alone. What you're feeling isn't personal failure. It's a systemic problem affecting millions of us. And while you're there, hit subscribe, because what I'm about to tell you next will challenge everything you thought you knew about hosting Christmas after 60. It's going to make you uncomfortable, but it might also set you free. Let me tell you why we do this. Why people over 60 fall into this trap. First, there's identity. For many of us, being the one who makes Christmas happen isn't just something we do. It's who we are. For decades, you've been the holiday architect. If you've been doing this for 30, 40, 50 years, it's woven into your sense of self. So when someone suggests you simplify or let someone else host, it doesn't feel like practical advice. It feels like being told you're not needed anymore. That's terrifying. I struggled with this. I couldn't imagine Christmas without me at the center. What would I be if I wasn't that? Rather than face those scary questions, many of us just keep doing what we've always done, even when it's hurting us. Second reason is control. When you get older, you lose control over many things. Your body doesn't cooperate. Your energy is finite. Maybe your financial situation changed. Maybe your social relevance shifted. All that loss of control is deeply unsettling. So Christmas becomes one of the few things you can still control. You hold on tight because letting go feels like admitting you're losing control over everything else. I insisted on every detail being exactly right because it was the one area where I still felt completely competent. But control and connection are often opposites. The more you control, the less present you can be. Third is fear of disappointment. We remember how magical Christmas used to be and carry this image of what it should be. We're terrified that if we simplify, the magic will disappear. We worry our grandchildren will remember this as the Christmas that wasn't special. But here's what I've learned. These fears are almost never accurate. They're projections, stories we tell ourselves, not what our families actually think or want. And fourth, comparison with our past selves. We think, I used to prepare 7-course meals without breaking a sweat, so we believe we should still be able to do that at 75, at 83. We compare our current capabilities to our 40-year-old self and feel inadequate. But that comparison is fundamentally unfair. Your body at 70 is not your body at 40. That's not failure. That's biology. Now stay with me. What I'm about to share next reveals the real cost of this habit. Not just tiredness, but what it actually steals from you. Things you can't get back. And once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this conversation is just the beginning. There are so many more truths about aging, about worth, about joy that nobody wants to say out loud. And I'm going to say them. Let me tell you what this habit actually costs. The costs are real, measurable, and devastating. First, the physical cost. Hospital admissions for people over 60 spiked during holidays. Heart problems, back injuries, exhaustion-related complications. I've heard heartbreaking stories. A woman who threw her back out, lifting a turkey and missed dinner entirely. A man who had a minor stroke on Christmas Eve after weeks of inadequate sleep. A grandmother who fainted during gift opening. Your body at 65 is not designed to handle what it handled at 40. When you ignore those changes, you're putting yourself at real risk. Then there's the financial cost. Many people over 60 are on fixed incomes, but the pressure to maintain Christmas traditions doesn't decrease. I've received letters from women who spent money they couldn't afford because they couldn't bear scaling back. Then January comes with credit card bills they can't pay, drained savings they needed for medical expenses. This isn't generosity. This is self-sacrifice to the point of harm. The emotional cost might be worst of all. You spend weeks preparing. You're exhausted before Christmas arrives. Then the day comes and you're so tired, so stressed about everything being perfect that you can't actually be present. You're in the kitchen while everyone's in the living room. You're worried about timing instead of listening to your grandchild's story. At the end of the night, you realize something crushing. You were there, but you weren't really there. You missed it. I received a letter I can't forget. A woman, 68, spent 3 weeks preparing. Everything was perfect. but she was so exhausted that she took a nap and slept through the gift exchange. She wrote, "My grandchildren didn't notice the decorations I'd spent days creating, but they did notice when Grandma wasn't there. I chose decorations over being present. What am I doing?" That haunted me because I recognized myself. How many moments had I missed making sure napkins were folded correctly? There's also the cost of resentment. You do everything yourself. Then you feel angry that nobody helped, nobody noticed your work. But you created that dynamic. You insisted on doing it all. Now you resent them for not reading your mind. This resentment poisons the relationships you're celebrating. And finally, the cost of lost time. This keeps me up at night. If you're 60, you might have 30 Christmases left. 70, maybe 20, 80, maybe 10 if you're lucky. Each one is precious, limited. If you spend them exhausted, too tired to be present, too controlling to let others help, you're wasting them. At 83, I don't know how many I have left, but I don't want to spend a single one physically depleted, emotionally absent, resentful, and controlling. I want to be there, actually there, present, laughing, connecting, remembering, and to do that, I had to change. After last Christmas, I did something I'd never done. I asked my daughter Alexis for honest feedback. I said, "Tell me the truth. How do you really experience Christmas at my house?" There was a long pause. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Mom, we love being with you, but honestly, you're so stressed the entire time it's almost hard to enjoy it. You're managing everything, correcting how people do things. By the end, you're so exhausted you can barely talk. I'd rather have pizza and you relaxed than perfect turkey and you miserable." That hit me like a physical blow. She was completely right. I'd been so focused on creating the perfect event that I'd forgotten to be a person my family wanted to be around. I'd become the stressed, controlling matriarch instead of the present, loving mother and grandmother. My family didn't want the production. They wanted me, just me, relaxed, available, present. That changed everything. I realized my family's happiest Christmas memories weren't the years when everything was perfect. They were years when something went wrong and we laughed. The simple moments, unplanned conversations, spontaneous joy, those were the real gifts. I had been working so hard to create magic that I'd been missing the magic already there. So I made a decision. This year is radically different. The food is being catered. Yes, Martha Stewart is having Christmas dinner catered. That saves me 15 hours of work and days of stress. I'm decorating minimally. One tree, some simple greenery, not 12 themed trees or elaborate tablescapes. I'm simplifying gifts, not buying for everyone, not wrapping elaborately. Just a few meaningful gifts for people closest to me. And hardest of all, I'm asking for help and accepting things will be done differently than I would do them. My daughter-in-law is bringing side dishes. My grandson is setting the table. It won't look like I would do it. And that's okay, because letting go of control isn't admitting defeat. It's making room for connection, choosing presence over perfection, valuing people over performance. What I'm gaining is so much more valuable. I'm gaining the ability to actually be at my own Christmas, to sit and talk, listen to stories, play with grandchildren, laugh without rushing off, to be relaxed enough that people want to be around me, not just admire what I've produced. This is terrifying. Letting go of decades of habit, identity, control is genuinely scary. Part of me worries people will judge me, think I've gotten old, can't handle it anymore. But you know what's scarier? Wasting whatever Christmases I have, left proving I can still do something that doesn't actually matter. So let me tell you exactly what you need to do to break free from this habit. First, get brutally honest. List everything you normally do for Christmas. Everything. Then ask, does this bring me joy or is this obligation? Be honest. Your experience matters. I was shocked by how many things were obligation, not joy. When I looked at what actually brought joy, the list was much shorter. Time with people I love. Good food, not necessarily complicated. Laughter, connection, simplicity. Second, have the conversation with your family. Tell them directly this year is different. Don't apologize. Just state clearly, Christmas is going to be simpler. I need help. I'm doing less. Most families will be relieved. Give them specific tasks. John, you're bringing dessert. Maria, you're setting the table. Then let them do it their way. If the table doesn't look how you do it, smile and say nothing. Connection with imperfection is better than perfection with exhaustion. Third, create a new tradition embodying presence over perfection. After the meal, we're sitting together for an hour. No phones. Everyone shares their favorite memory from the past year. Simple, but something we'll actually remember. Maybe for you, it's a morning walk before chaos starts, or Christmas brunch instead of formal dinner. Choose something prioritizing being together over looking impressive. Fourth, practice saying no to events you don't want to attend, traditions that drain you, expectations that aren't serving you. This is your life, your time, your energy. You don't owe anyone a performance. And finally, give yourself permission to rest during Christmas, not after, during. Take a nap. Sit while others work. Your value is not in serving constantly. Your value is in being there, present, rested enough to connect. Here's what I know at 83. The perfect Christmas doesn't exist. What exists is the choice between performance and presence, between exhaustion and connection. For decades, I chose wrong. I missed conversations, laughter, the faces of people I love because I was too busy in the kitchen. I missed the whole point. But it's not too late. If you're feeling that exhaustion already, you can choose differently. This can be the year you break the habit, the year you actually show up to your own Christmas. Your family doesn't need a perfect house. They need you, rested and present. They don't need elaborate food. They need you, relaxed and available. That's the gift that matters. And you can't give that gift if you're exhausted. So please, break the habit. Do less. Ask for more. Be present. Because these Christmases are numbered. And when you look back, you won't remember whether napkins matched. You'll remember how you felt. You'll remember whether you were really there or too busy performing to actually live. What's one thing you're going to delegate or eliminate this Christmas? Go to the comments right now and tell me. Make it real. Declare it. And subscribe to this channel. We need more conversations like this. Honest conversations about aging with dignity, about letting go of what doesn't serve us, about choosing joy over performance. There's so many more uncomfortable truths nobody wants to say out loud, and I'm going to keep saying them. But I need you with me. Your next Christmas can be different, better, more joyful, but it starts with breaking the habit. It starts right now. Let's do this together.